Welcome to Let's Talk Passion and Purpose, the podcast where we explore the journeys of creators, leaders, and visionaries who've turned their passions into purpose. Join your host, Nicole Thomas, as we dive into inspiring stories, uncover strategies for success, and help you take the next step toward a life filled with meaning. Let's get started.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Passion and Purpose with Nicole Thomas. And I'm excited to announce that I am here with Janell Santana-Sims. Janell Santana-Sims is a dedicated social worker and the founder of Self-Care JS Inc., a nonprofit organization that emphasizes harm reduction in substance abuse and promotes mental health awareness. In addition, Janell is the founder of JS Self-Care LLC, a coaching program that revisits the essential self-care lessons imparted by our caretakers, wisdom we often overlook in our youthful confidence. As she puts it, so we thought we knew it all. Janell is committed to guiding others through her hard truths about self-care, sharing insights she has personally had to relearn. She believes these revelations resonate with many who are on their own journeys towards wellness. Janell's accomplishments includes being the author of The Hard Truths About Self-Care, and this impactful book is incorporated into the learning curriculum at the Center for Recovery in Middletown, New York. Janell is also a Narcan trainer, podcaster. She's the host of JS Self-Care Mind, Body, and Soul podcast, where she explores various self-care topics to inspire her audience. In addition, she's a philanthropist, workshop host, social self-care mixer host, creator of self-soothing body butters, a self-care space advocate, and a nature lover. She's a proud tree hugger, and Janell embraces the healing power of nature. And in 2019, Janell coined the phrase, "Have an amazing day on purpose," and she shares the significance of being intentional about our daily experiences. All I can say is wow, wow, and thank you so much for being on the show, Janell.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your journey. What led you to become a social worker and ultimately found Self-Care JS Inc. and JS Self-Care LLC?
So growing up, a lot of people don't know this, but I was a teenager in the South Bronx and didn't feel school was for me. And I fell through the cracks. I got my GED in college and I kept going. And I was like, well, I want the easiest class. I've always been a talker. I was called a chatterbox. On all my report cards is your daughter talks too much in class. And we all know social workers, we talk too much. We talk a lot. And I got my GED. I got my associate's degree. I was like, I can't stop. I'm like the auntie that still goes to school. So I got my bachelor's degree. And then 3 years ago, I went back to school again and I received my master's in social work this September 2024. So now I'm a master level social worker. And as a social worker, I knew that I love to see the smiles on people's faces that I help. It fills my cup up with joy that I needed one and wanted, and I watch my clients actually do the work. And I love being a social worker, but there's a stigma surrounding mental health, right? Soon as you say mental health, people get in a frenzy. And then coaching came out during COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, wow, everybody could be a coach. And in the state of New York, you don't have to be a certified life coach.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a class online and became a life coach because now I'm so many years in of doing social work. So now you got to learn how to be a coach and understand what coaching is all about. And then I realized that in New York, this is why they say you really don't need a certificate in coaching, because we coach every day, but we also provide mental health every day as well, right? Those conversations. And I was like, I'll call myself the self-care life coach. There's no such thing as a self-care life coach, but I started in 2018. I lost my mom, and I remember saying, Mom, I'm going to go live on Facebook, and not for business. Trust me, not for. So I
Mm-hmm.
started going live, and one of the statements on Facebook Live was, you need to do this for the hood every day. It was, the hood needs this. Then every Sunday, I just started getting so dedicated to doing these lives. And I was like, wow, this stuff really is needed. And then, you lose your mom and you're going through the grief process, right? You're grieving. And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I promised my mother I would do this. And then I started writing a book and thinking about all the things that my mother told me not to do that I did anyway, which was the hard truths about self-care. Like growing up, I know everybody's mother said, don't let people take advantage of you, but we still
Mm-hmm.
do, right? So that was one of the hard truths that my mom taught me. And as I swing through it, fast forward a little bit, 2021, another hit happened. My father died of a drug overdose right in my home. And I was like, you know what? No other family should have to go through this. I had Narcan in my car because what? I'm a social worker. I'm in and out of homes. I'm not my father's social worker. I was most definitely his daughter. And
Mm-hmm.
what I realized was like, oh, I could do this. And so many social workers said to me, and mental health professionals was like, Janelle, how could your father use drugs? You help so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And self-care, JS self-care was already birthed. So people actually saw me helping, but not to that level. And that basically was the birth to me just saying, I'm going to bring both of these businesses together, keep my LLC, be a coach, host self-care in the workplace. And then for my non-for-profit, I'm going to be able to help people with sober living and mental health. So both businesses tie into basically helping those who can't help themselves at the moment. But with
Mm-hmm.
some build up with videos and things like that, they will be able to build themselves back up to the best versions of themselves.
Yeah, that's incredible. It is absolutely incredible to take your experience, your loss, and turn it into a way to help other people. It's just powerful. I think that radiates when I look at your page and I see all the great work that you're doing. I see so much joy. It's so authentic. How did you realize that this was your true purpose and passion?
A lot of people don't know this, but we know our purpose and we know our passion. I think we're born with it. Those are the things that make us smile, but we actually do it, right? I was just speaking to one of my coachees, and I said to her today, it's certain things that make us laugh, right? And have fun and smile. So think about it. Like I said, I'm a dancer, but I know I'm not going to be dancing on Dancing with the Stars. But I know
Mhm.
self-care is where I need to be. And that, I got to say, it starts from birth. We're born
Mhm.
with gifts and talents. We tap into them, but then we start thinking, oh, if I do this, other people are not going to support me. Or if I do this, people are going to ask why. And most definitely, I'm human. And people did ask why. And I was
Mhm.
like, I like to do this. I'm going to do it. And then, of course, everybody chimes in with their advice. Well, if I were you, I would do this. And I trust me, I get it. And you get that. But then you realize that when people start to say, and this is a hard truth about self care, when people start giving you idea after idea after idea, it really is their dream. And, I kind of say there's a lot of self care. Self care is like a buzzword now. I think
Mhm.
you should open your business, and I think you would be great in that angle. I have to do it my way. I have to make mistakes. I cannot come out perfect because if I do, I'm not learning anything in perfection mode. I'm
Mhm.
learning so much in imperfection mode.
There's a lot to what you said about their learning and imperfection mode that really resonates with me. Because a lot of times, right, we don't want to start because first, like you said, people They're projecting all their fears. They've got all these ideas of how we should move. And that's a part of self-care, being able to set boundaries and say, no, I need to do it my way. And I've got to go through those trials so that I learn and get better. And you've just managed that so well. And you're a role model to other people. And so starting and being imperfect is also the key to success. I want to tap in a little more about passion and purpose. So you mentioned that we know, right? We may not be on Dancing on the Stars, but we kind of know. But how do you really say, okay, this is it? Because there are society tells us, okay, maybe this, maybe that. And looking at your journey, you're multifaceted. What if someone says, I have so many passions? How do you narrow it down? How do you even know it is a passion or your
I,
purpose?
first, for me, right, I know the power in pen and paper opposed to the power of typing, right? We all got phones, and I will send you to your notes if it works for you. But I want you I would tell someone, write down what is it you really love, right? What is it that you could wake up and do with your eyes closed? There it is. There is your answer. That's what I would say. Yes. So what are the things that you like? And they put a smile on your face, but you know that's nothing you want to do every day. Like I call myself the dancing social worker. I will dance everywhere I go, but I know I cannot dance all day. But I know that I could think about self-care. I could read quotes on self-care. That is what I truly love. Yes, I love to dance, but make it make sense. Can I keep going? No, but can I keep going with this and still be that dancing social worker and still do all those other things that I love to do, like social networking? I love social networking, and social networking is just being around friends and family that put a smile on your face. Now, can I move all my friends and family in my home and we all live together? I may not like social self-care anymore because I'll be like, get out. So that's something I do love though, right? But you gotta compartmentalize where you want things and then figure out what it is you want to do. And
Mm.
that is your purpose. You're gonna love a lot of things, but think about it. What is it that you could do with your eyes closed? What is it that you want to learn? Where is it that you want to be? Do you really want to live on the island far away from people? Or how you going to get there? Let's come up with a plan on you getting to that island where there's nobody there. How you going to eat? It's just breaking it down. Yes, people want to live on the island and just forget the world, especially during COVID, right? We all
Mhm.
wanted to run under a rock.
Right, we did.
That wasn't our purpose, right? So I think people get that passion and purpose and what it is. You gotta narrow it down, but still have the ability to do the other things that you like to do. And that is why you could build a tree, right? And you can have all these branches of things that you like to do. And that's what builds your business, or that's what fulfills your dream. You got to go into those different avenues.
Mm, I love that. That image of a tree is powerful, right? And branching out and really testing to see what works, and then that sustainability. Mm. Tell me, as the author of The Hard Truths About Self-Care, what are some of the hardest truths you've had to confront in your own self-care journey, and how do they resonate with the people you work with?
So some of the hard truths that I had to deal with was understanding that everybody is not my cup of tea and I'm not
Mm.
their cup of tea, right? So
Hmm.
when we all go in business, right? We're like, my family's gonna support me. I'm gonna get all these people, and not realizing that you just put yourself in a box. That is one of the hardest truths I had to learn that I was physically putting myself in a box. And I had to get out that box. And just like that tree example, I had to let all those branches grow so that I can know that, being part of people who don't look like you is okay. There's so many people that I walk up to, I could go places, and they're like, you're the lady with the glasses, or you're the heart lady. And
Hmm.
I'm always wearing hearts. But that is where those hard truths that were the hardest. is to know that you need to step out into other rooms. You know, people be like, but people don't want you at their table, so build your own and have your own crowd. That just may not be the table you need to be at. But I had to learn there's other tables that have already been built where you need to be. You don't have to reinvent the wheels, right? By
Mm-hmm.
building your own table is great, but you're building a table and gotta have all these people come to because those people don't want you there. But there's a table to your right that you can go to that you're wanting. So all
That's
of those were like the hardest things to swallow, right? Hard things
yeah.
to swallow on this journey. And I had to swallow them.
hmm Yeah, and another visual being in a box, right? I can see it, and society puts us in a box, right? That's just the nature of just life in general, and the fact that we've got to push ourselves out of the box, branch out back to the tree and the branches to be able to explore, to grow, and pursue passion and purpose. I tell you, that's tremendous. You often talk about relearning the self-care lessons from our caretakers. Could you share a lesson that's been especially important for you and why it's something we tend to overlook?
So growing up, I grew up with my mom, and she used to say, Janelle, don't have all these boyfriends.
hmm
Janelle, don't let your friends walk all over you.
hmm
Janelle, all of those things that a parent tells you and you don't listen.
hmm
Yes, because you know it all, right? You know it all. You know what can make, oh, mine, you just, oh, my friends are not like that. My friends love me. And all the while, they knew. They knew.
hmm
Your caretaker knows exactly what they're saying. They watch it unfold. And then you get mad when your mother or your caretaker say, I told you so. I told you that Tina was no good for you, but you kept loving on Tina because that's your best friend, that's your sister. And then you realize all the while what they saying is the truth.
hmm Yeah, there is, right? There's so much truth in that. And I think sometimes we're just so stuck in the middle of the situation. And like you said, oh, we know it all. But our caretakers, our families, they see it a mile away from
Okay,
their
yeah.
experience and what was passed down to them. So it's always an eye opener when they're right, but there's benefit to listening to them. So you have a podcast, workshops, mixers through your podcast, workshops, and mixers. You connect with so many people on their wellness journeys. What's the most common challenge you've seen when people try to prioritize self-care? And then how do you help them overcome it?
So most of us was raised that our children come first. One of the
Yes.
challenges whenever I'm speaking with a client or anyone, I go, so how this is gonna work? And they're like, my kids come first, Janelle. I can't take care of me. I gotta take care of my kids. So then you know what I say? Well, how are you taking care of your kids and you're not taking care of you? Do you know by you not taking care of you, you're only giving your kids 50% of you? Do you want to give your loved ones, or it doesn't have to be your kids, do you want to give your lover, your husband, your wife, anyone, do you want to give them a whole 100% of you? The only way you could do that is by making sure your cup is full and overflowing. That's
Yes.
the only way. We wonder why, our mates want to be far away from us because we're not giving ourselves enough. And think of relationships that you have lost. It doesn't have to be your mate, your friends and stuff. What is the one thing that they say that's your fault because this relationship ended? And it all attributes to how much you love yourself, how much you care for yourself, how much dead weight you're carrying around. All of those things matter.
They do. They do. How can someone channel their creativity to take care of themselves and to practice self-care? What role does creativity play in that?
What I would say is take 5 minutes. I know a lot of coaches will say take an hour. That's probably not realistic for a lot of people to even, and yes, there's 24 hours in a day. Everybody's afforded the same 24 hours. I say take 5 minutes, go in a corner, and just 5 minutes. You could take your journal and you could just sit there and do anything. People would say, but I don't have enough space. I don't have a room. Of course, that's the fear coming in, right? Every excuse, I can't do this. I go, this is what I want you to do. Find a little corner and you tell your family, when you see me in this corner, do not bother me unless you can't breathe and you're dying.
Mm.
You're dying, of course, disrupt my mood. But if you're not dying, I need you to give me 5 minutes. We live in a world of hustle and bustle. I think you could say, Nicole, when was the last time you gave yourself just 5 minutes? You didn't think about the bills, nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're so focused on, I'm going to get a massage for an hour. And then you never make it to the massage. I'm going to do me. I'm going to get my nails done. And then your nail is falling off and you still like, I got to go to work. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes. And then you could gradually turn that 5 minutes into 10 minutes. You could gradually turn that into 15 minutes, but you got to learn yourself. And when you're sitting by yourself and you're alone, that's when the creativity comes out. That's exactly when it comes out. We don't understand and know how creative we could be because we're working. Food costs a lot of money. Like if I talk to anybody, they're like, Janell, how do you have time for this? Do you sleep? And I'm like, I sleep. Think I do self-care all day? Because they'll see random posts in the middle of the night. And I'm like, I sleep. And I also take my time for me. And I'll sit in my car and not move. And I'll love up on me. I'll open my own arms, give myself a big hug. That's like 10 seconds within itself. So now you got 4 minutes and 49 seconds. Do whatever it takes. Go to the dollar store, buy you an eye mask, just sit in the dark, sit on the floor, sit in your car, sit in next to a tree, walk in grass, take 5 minutes and say, look, the house ain't burning and ain't nobody dying. Everybody wants something. I get it. We all get it. We want something too. We want the 5 minutes. And you know what? You got to tell people, like, I'm going to take this because until I know my purpose and discover where I'm at, where I'm going, I have to sit with myself so I can learn myself.
Mm-hmm.
How many of us don't even know ourselves? Like, I want to get to know who I am. I not like the things I don't like about myself. I want to be able to change the things I need to change. And that's part of the creativity. When you think of being creative, you got to know who you are. You got to know where you're going. And not the direction of straight. When I say know where you're going, you got to have a plan. And that's why writing things down. What am I good at? What do I like to do? What I hate to do, but it pays the bills. You got to learn what it is you like, what you don't like, and understand that certain places you're at is only to fund your purpose, only to fund where you need to go.
I love that. It resonates. So to fund your purpose, right? And not really getting stuck in them where you are, but really taking time. You've unpacked a lot to be still and get to know ourselves. Tell me a little bit more about being intentional, how people can be more intentional in their life. Like beyond the 5 minutes. You gave us the 5 minutes, grab the 5 minutes, but tell me a little bit more.
I said have an amazing day on purpose on one of my videos. I started in 2019. So a cousin of mine, my god sister, she was like, that's the phrase for you. That is it. And I was like, okay. So then every video, I was like, have an amazing day on purpose. Not thinking of nothing. Then my 20-year-old son, he started imitating self-care. He was like, in self-care and have an amazing day on purpose. So now all my little nieces and nephews, they all chime in. And it's like the family term. Like, I know what you're going to say. Have an amazing day on purpose. So now it's in my office. Have an amazing day on purpose. So what do you think people do? I'm so intentional with wanting people to have an amazing day on purpose. They read it. In the morning, when I go to work with my residents, I'm singing good morning to you. And then when I leave, I go, and there's 176 of them. And all in one room, I go, have a great day on purpose. So now that's where the intentional stuff, right? I really want people to have a great day on purpose. I don't want to be in chaos at work all day. So it's up to me as the social worker to set that morning tone.
Wow, you are setting the tone. Yeah, and just having a phrase to shift your mindset and set the day, that's powerful. I think that's amazing. And I'm going to start saying that. I'm going to have an amazing day on purpose. Love it. So, what's next for you?
I'm starting back up with my podcast. I did relaunch it. It's still the same old episodes, and it's called the JS Self-Care Mind, Body, and Soul Podcast.
Mhm.
And right now I'm playing with the glasses. I'm going to start interviewing people again. I call it Journey to Self-Care when I have a guest on, because I want to hear that journey. Like, what made you start taking care of you? What was that journey like? I feel that we all on a journey. I feel like we're on a train, and sometimes we make stops, and those stops we get off the train because we think that stop is best for us, and then we realize that stop ain't our stop. We get back on the train and we start that journey and we continue on that journey.
Yeah.
That's what's next for me.
Okay, I love it. I love it. And once again, with the visuals, the train, and it's true because when you get off a train, you get off maybe at the wrong stop, you're afraid to just get back on because you're not too sure. And I just love just that image of getting back on the train and you got to keep going. So I love that. And then your glasses, I want to make sure people know about your products. Tell us about your other products in addition to the shirts that you have and the glasses.
I'm the author of The Hard Truths About Self-Care. I have
Hmm.
a book, and I'm
Hmm.
also a self-care life coach where I coach people all over the world. Every single thing I do, you see it's self-care, right? I'm
Yes.
teaching you what my mother taught me in the book, but I didn't just write a book about my story. I actually, in my book, I tell you a time that I was a walking doormat. Then I tell you to write down a time when you were a walking doormat. And then on the next page, it say, jot down a time when you stopped being a walking doormat. So it's actually like a workbook. It helps you
Hmm.
get through, those times and things. So that's
Well,
kind of what we're doing here.
that is who you are, Janell Santana-Sims, everyone. What a pleasure just having this conversation with you and everything that you shared. I mean, I am rethinking my self-care routine and then also how I can support others. So the conversation
Just
was
remember,
definitely
self-care is free. It's free to go
yes,
walk outside. It's
yes.
free to go hug a tree. It's free to sit in your living room. I don't want people to spend so much money on self-care. It's free to go to YouTube University and learn something new. I pride on learning new things every day. And all of these self-care things that I'm saying is free. Yes, some people may pay for water, but drink that cup of water. It's not going to cost you much. I don't want so many people to do self-maintenance and call it self-care. Getting your
Mhm,
hair and nails done is self-maintenance.
mhm.
Wearing the JS self-care prescription lenses, that's self-maintenance. Anything on your outer is self-maintenance, because when you wear a shirt, when you buy those shoes, when you buy those glasses, you can say that you're doing it all for you, but I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna feel good when you're walking down the street and somebody say, those glasses is really cute. I like that sweater. That looks really nice. That's self-maintenance. Getting your nails done, self-maintenance. We don't want to look tacky on our videos and stuff. So of course, putting on our little lip gloss and stuff, all of that is self-maintenance.
Yes, it is. It is.
Self-care is what you do for your inner part. When you go outside and you go for a walk and you get in that fresh air, that's not self-maintenance. I mean, nobody will know you went outside, right? You're doing it for
Mhm,
self. And that's the word, self.
mhm. And it's so difficult sometimes for people to focus on self, to say it out loud, right? How do you say that out loud? I'm going to focus on myself because it sounds selfish. And
Yeah.
you're changing the narrative. Focus on self so that you can pour into others, like you said. Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah,
Cannot.
we're pouring from half full cups in certain situations in our life.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's why people get an attitude with us and stuff. Really, we're thinking it, of course, sometimes it is them, but sometimes when you point the finger inward, you're like, how am I showing up for me to give this person the audacity to even think they could disrespect me, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
How am I showing up for me in front of this individual? How does this individual think it's okay every day to walk all over me? What am I doing wrong? I know we want to point the finger outward. It's so easy to blame others for our own mess.
Yes. Oh, that's powerful, Janelle. It is so easy to point the finger, but when we
Mhm.
start looking inward, that's when the change happens and we can shift in many ways. Now, where can we find you? What
Well,
social media platforms, websites?
I would look up jsselfcare.org. That is my website, www.jsselfcare.org. You can also find me at JS Self Care on Facebook or Self Care JS Incorporated. Either way, on Instagram, Janell Santana, on LinkedIn, Janell Santana-Sims, but it still has that JS Self Care. Or you can Google me, JS Self Care, and all of what I have going on will pop up. LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm focused on getting the word out. I do daily videos to encourage you, to encourage myself. This morning during my meditation, it was stop carrying that dead weight, let that weight go. And I've
Hmm.
been questioning everything I did today to understand that I'm moving the dead weight. It's a shift, and I'm shifting with it.
Yeah, oh, it's amazing, Janelle. It's amazing. We have to let go of dead weight or else we can't fly. So I just want to say thank you again. It's
Thank you.
truly been a pleasure.
Thank you, Nicole, for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining Let's Talk Passion and Purpose. I hope you're leaving inspired and ready to elevate your journey. Remember to subscribe, rate, and share if you enjoyed today's episode. Stay connected, follow your passion, live purposefully, and we'll see you next time.